So before you file your S-1, it's a good idea to start thinking and acting like a public company. Because if we look at the companies that are most successful, they're usually the ones that have grasped the whole idea of making a long-term transformation to be a public company, which really affects every aspect of corporate life. So it's good to start thinking and acting like a public company in advance. For example, you might want to think about getting a pipeline of news releases out there so that your company has already has some visibility in the media, that you're thinking about the type of information that you would want to be communicating to investors later on, whether it might be winning contracts or winning awards, or obviously any management changes, additions to the boards, things like that. Really establish a precedent for the type of news releases that you'd want to be communicating, because once you get close to filing your S-1, you only can behave the way that you have been behaving all along. So if you've already established this communications precedent, you're able to continue putting out news releases. You also might want to think about coaching the management team by having them go out and gain some visibility by presenting at trade shows, going to some private investor conferences so that they get some experience and get to hear what investors are asking for. They get some experience in presenting. You might want to have them write some bylined articles, do some media interviews. Again, just getting some visibility out there so that they're much more comfortable in front of people talking, and that they've had an opportunity to hear what are people looking for. It's also good to think about, what is my company all about? How do I want to define my company? What is my mission? What are our values? What is our culture all about? Is that something that we want to be communicating? Because a lot of times companies don't think about that until they're ready to start working on the prospectus document. So it's good if you have a handle on where you want the company to be and you have a vision of where the company is going, and all your employees really embrace that vision. That usually leads to a much more successful IPO. You also need to think about the metrics that that's going to define your company and how you'll be evaluated. Look at your peer companies and see what metrics are they reporting on? Are they the same metrics that you want to be reporting on? Because if they're not, you're going to have to be explaining to the investment community later on why you don't think those metrics are the right one for you. So that's why it's good to start thinking about that now before analysts start asking you about specific metrics, that these are the ones that are really best define our company, and this is why we think they are important to the company. It's also good to really look at the whole corporate website, because again, once you start getting involved in the IPO process and coming up with positioning, you don't want to have to start all that at that time. So if you've already given some thought to how the company should be positioned, they'll make writing your S-1 document a lot easier, less scrubbing that you'll have to do to your corporate website when you are going public. So it's good to start thinking about that, get that mission statement up there, get those values. Make sure you have bios on the management team up there. As I talked about, a whole pipeline of news releases. So this way, people know who your company is before you go public, and that'll lead to a much more successful IPO.